In the year 2157, people have figured out a really good way to educate everyone, and it's helped stop wars, hunger, and terrorism. Meanwhile, there's this guy named Max who's cruising around in his own spaceship. Out of nowhere, a big rock from space smacks into Max's spaceship, wrecking it badly. Max has to think fast and figure out how to land safely, but the ship is all messed up, and he can't control it anymore. It crashes onto the closest planet, and then he spots a creature trying to hide nearby. Max tries to talking to the creature, but it dashes off. Then, a soldier named Zeph shows up and aims a gun at Max. Zeph says something, but Max can't understand. Quick thinking, Max pulls out a tiny gadget from his belt and sticks it in his ear. Max is taken to a lab where scientists try to read his mind with a special helmet while asking him questions. He is then moved to a mental hospital in the capital city with a soldier named Guy as his guard. Suddenly, Zeph collapses and has a seizure, leading authorities to take him away. As they head to the city, Max notices the town's deteriorated state and tall towers scattered around. Without warning, a nearby tower explodes, causing chaos. It collapses onto the road, crushing people and destroying trucks. A metal beam traps Guy under Max's truck, but Max uses his strength to free him just in time to avoid the flames. Max finds out that rebels are trying to overthrow the government, which is why the towers are important for protection. Now, they have to keep going on foot. When they reach the capital, the boss of the Special Research Department, Strider, hears about Max and sends his employee Funk to bring him to his office. But the scientists studying Max's mind get interrupted by Funk, who shows Strider's badge and takes Max away even though the scientists don't want him to. While Funk is driving Max away in his car, they hit a roadblock. Max quickly flees from the confusion and discovers that the country is controlled by a dictatorship led by mysterious figures known as the Unknown Fathers. While in a bar, Max intervenes when another customer mistreats Rada, the waitress. After disarming the unruly customer, Max spends the time talking with Rada, who is revealed to be Guy's sister. She invites Max to stay at her place, however, they encounter the angry customer again, along with more men seeking revenge. Despite being outnumbered, Max easily evades their attacks, including sword swings and attempts to trap him with a rope. Finally, only the man with the cane remains, but Max effortlessly dodges his blade-filled ball. As time goes on, Max finds out more about the way people live there. The local believe they're living inside the planet, not on its surface, and they're taught there are no other planets or stars. Guy really wants to protect their home, so he asks Max to become a guard too. But Max doesn't have any ID or papers, and Guy has to talk to Commander Chachu to get Max in. First, Max has to train. He learns the chant and practices missions where he has to run through fire and shoot at targets representing the rebels they call degenerates. Max is really good at shooting, but his friend isn't, so Max helps him out with some tips to pass the test. But later, Guy tells Max off in private, saying he shouldn't do that again because their bosses want them to be disciplined. Sometimes, they practice fighting together. When Max isn't busy, he spends time with Rada. Finally, Max gets into the army. Chachu starts saying mean things about the rebels, calling them names, but he does admit they can feel the pain just like anyone else. However, Max tells him he doesn't feel pain at all. Later, the fathers judge the rebels while shining really bright and hot lights on them. One rebel shows them his mechanical arm because the guards cut off his real one. The fathers punish him by putting him in a suit that hurts his skin with gas. Max has to watch it all, even though it makes him feel sick. Since Max is out in the open a lot, Funk finally figures out where he is. Later that night, Guy and Max are asked to go to Chachu's office. By the time Funks get there, they've already left. Because of what happened before, Chachu wants Max to show he's loyal. He takes him to the forest and tells him to shoot the two rebels who've been sentenced to death. Max pretends he's going to shoot the rebels, but instead, he sets them free. Then he tells Chachu he's leaving. Chachu gets really mad and starts shooting at Max, even when Guy begs him to stop. After that, Chachu takes. The others agree to the plan of a big attack, but they need to make people okay with starting a war again. They might do this by faking an assassination attempt, and in the evening, the rebels in the forest find Max and are surprised he's alive because he heals really quickly. In exchange, the rebels tell Max that the fathers are rulers who grab power forcefully. The tower aren't for protection, they actually send out waves to control people's minds. Right then, the tower starts sending out their waves. The rebels put sticks into their mouths to stop themselves from choking, and as the rebels start shooting at the soldiers and the alarm goes off, Max dashes through the building without worrying about getting shot. Because Max is so strong, the group gets away to the forest just before the tower blows up. But sadly, another rebel dies from his wounds, leaving Max and one other guy alive. Later, Max sneaks back into the city and finds Rada. He doesn't know a neighbor sees him and calls the authorities, and when Guy gets home, they argue, and Guy tries to make Max leave. When the authorities show up, Max rushes out to protect Rada and Guy from getting hurt. He fights off the soldiers outside, but Chatu grabs Rada and Max has to give up. Later, Max gets thrown into jail with a bunch of other prisoners, including Zeph and the guy with the metal arm. Omnic runs the re-education program, and Strike wants Omnic to let Max go so he can study him. They talk about making a deal, but after Strike leaves, Omnic checks Max's file and finds out he doesn't have seizures. In the morning, the prisoners are sent to the forest to clean up, which means they have to collect all the weapons left from the war. Out of nowhere, Max's group spots some defense robots. They all quickly lie down as the robots start shooting non-stop in every direction. The prisoners wait for the right time to shoot back. While they're walking around, Zeph accidentally falls into a hidden hole. Max jumps in to help him, and they find a bunch of tunnels underground. They see a creature moving in the shadows, so they switch on the power and find some old tools and machines. While they're busy checking out some lenses that show them the desert, the creature takes off. Max tells Zeph not to shoot it, and then the creature breaks the equipment, cutting off the power and attacks. After a big fight, Max manages to knock the beast out, saving Zeph. While Zeph is asleep, Max unites the ropes and lets the beast go. Zeph gets mad at him, but Max says these creatures aren't just animals. The next morning, Max, Zeph, and the guy with the metal arm meet up and keep searching the area together. While they're among the trees, they see a small red tank tangled in vines. When they try to approach it, they're attacked by a black tank that moves around on its own. The group hides behind the trees and shoots at the tanks, but their bullets don't do anything. Luckily, Max comes up with an idea. He shoots at the red tank, making it react. When it tries to shoot back, it accidentally takes down the black tank instead. Max sneaks under the tank and climbs inside from behind. He cuts the wires to make it stop moving, and after eating with the others, Max says he's leaving. There are security measures at the borders to stop prisoners from escaping, but Max gets into the tank and drives it south. Mines explode around him, but they don't hurt him. When Omnic finds out Max escaped, he gets really mad in his office. Finally, after a long search, Max comes across a group of soldiers guarding the road. His heart sinks when he sees the lifeless bodies of executed rebels lying nearby. Max's anxiety spikes as the soldiers draw nearer. But just as they approach, relief floods over him when he recognizes one of the soldiers climbing onto the tank. It's Guy! With a grin, Max quickly pulls Guy into the tank, concealing him from the others. Without hesitation, Max pushes the tank forward, crashing through the gate and disregarding the soldiers who open fire, knowing the tank is impervious to their bullets. As they journey through unfamiliar terrain, Guy's initial shock turns to anger. He fears the consequences of their reckless escape, worried they could face execution if caught. In a desperate bid to flee, Guy attempts to escape from the tank, but Max firmly restrains him, offering reassurance and promising a brighter future ahead. Which movie should we pick next? Do let us know in the comment section. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Until next time, see you all.